I'm working late. Don't wait up. Those 7 words shattered my world at 11:42 p.m. on a Friday night. I stared at my phone in our pitch-black bedroom, that cold, sickening feeling of betrayal washing over me like ice water. My hands trembled as I set the phone down, making it the 3rd late night this month. You know that moment when your gut screams what your heart refuses to accept? That was me, Ethan Collins, 34, high school English teacher who thought he had built the perfect life with his wife of 4 years. We had everything society tells you equals happiness. The charming Craftsman house outside Portland, the matching SUVs in the driveway, even the white picket fence that made our neighbors jealous. But as I lay there alone in our empty, king-sized Pottery Barn bed, listening to that rhythmic clicking of the ceiling fan, that same clicking Olivia constantly nagged me to fix, I had no idea it would become the heartbeat counting down to the moment my entire life imploded. What I discovered the next morning would change everything. And trust me, what happened next is something no marriage counselor on earth could have prepared me for. Looking back, the red flags had been waving frantically for months. Olivia's marketing job at Nike had always demanded long hours, but suddenly there were weekend team-building events she couldn't get out of. Her phone was perpetually face down. She'd changed her password, which I only discovered when I tried to order Grubhub on her phone while mine was charging. Privacy is important in any relationship, she'd said with a tight smile when I mentioned it. We shouldn't be checking each other's phones anyway. I told myself this was normal, that all long-term relationships go through phases, that my anxiety was making mountains out of molehills. If only I had trusted my gut sooner. That night, with her working late text glowing accusingly on my phone, something inside me snapped. I opened my laptop and logged into our joint phone account. Something I'd never done before. The call and text logs appeared, and my heart dropped to my stomach like an elevator with cut cables. Multiple daily calls to the same number, texts at all hours. I didn't recognize the number, but a quick search revealed it belonged to Jason Keller, Olivia's college boyfriend, the one who got away, the one she'd always spoken about with that distant look in her eyes. I couldn't sleep. By 7 a.m. Saturday, fueled by nothing but black coffee and betrayal, I had done enough digital detective work to know that Jason had moved back to Portland 3 months ago after a divorce. His Instagram was full of artsy shots of Portland coffee shops, hiking trails at Forest Park, and Powell's books, all places Olivia had supposedly been going for me time. My hands shook as I texted my best friend Mark. "Can you come over? Emergency." Mark arrived with Starbucks and a concerned frown. "What's happened? You look like hell." I showed him everything, the phone logs, the Instagram posts, the increasing emotional distance. "Olivia texted that she's at a marketing retreat in Seattle this weekend," I said, voice cracking, "but her location is turned off, and she forgot to take her Nike lanyard, the one she needs to enter any corporate event." Mark's face hardened. "What are you going to do?" That was the question, wasn't it? I could confront her when she got home Sunday night. I could pretend I knew nothing and slowly die inside. Or, "I'm going to find out exactly what's happening," I said, a strange calm settling over me. "And then I'm going to decide if this marriage is worth saving." Tracking them down wasn't difficult. Jason had checked in on Facebook at Cannon Beach. Weekend getaway at the Stephanie Inn, the same luxury oceanfront hotel where Olivia and I had spent our first anniversary. The drive along Highway 26 gave me 3 hours to oscillate between rage, devastating heartbreak, and doubt. Was I overreacting? Would I ruin everything by showing up unannounced? What if this was an innocent reunion between old friends? But friends don't lie about where they're going. Friends don't hide their meetings. Friends don't book romantic ocean view suites together. The Stephanie Inn stood elegant and welcoming against the dramatic backdrop of Haystack Rock. I parked my Toyota 4Runner near the entrance, hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. For 15 minutes I couldn't move. Then I saw them, walking along the beach, hand in hand, Olivia throwing her head back in laughter at something Jason said, the intimate, easy way they moved together, the gravity between them palpable even from a distance. I didn't confront them. What would be the point? Instead, I took photos, not for revenge, but for myself. So, in the weak moments that I knew would come, I couldn't gaslight myself into believing I had imagined it all. Then I drove home, packed a bag, and went to Mark's apartment. Sunday night, 8:17 p.m. My phone dinged with a text from Olivia. "Just getting home. Where are you?" I had spent the day consulting with a lawyer, securing copies of our financial documents, and crying until I had no tears left. Now I felt hollow, but determined. I'll be home in 20, I texted back. When I arrived, Olivia was in the kitchen unloading groceries she must have picked up to support her Seattle lie. Her face was sun-kissed from the coastal weekend, her eyes bright until she saw my expression. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked, trying to kiss me. I stepped back. "How was Seattle?" My voice was calm, unnervingly calm. A flicker of something, panic, crossed her face before she composed herself. "Exhausting! These corporate retreats are just back-to-back presentations and team-building exercises." I nodded, taking out my phone. "Weird, because it looks like Cannon Beach has really nice weather this time of year." The color drained from her face as I showed her the photos. She reached for the counter to steady herself. "Ethan, I can explain." "Save it!" I cut her off. "I don't want explanations. I want the truth. Have you been sleeping with Jason?" Her silence was answer enough. "How long?" I asked. 3 months. Her voice was small. "Since he moved back." "And where did you see him? Here? In our home? In our bed?" Olivia flinched. "No, never here. I wouldn't what? Disrespect me that much because booking a romantic weekend at the hotel where we celebrated our first anniversary shows so much respect?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I'm so sorry. It just happened. We ran into each other at Stumptown Coffee and all those old feelings came rushing back and things don't just happen, Olivia. You made choices. Every secret text, every lie about working late, every time you looked me in the eyes and said you loved me while you were planning your next meetup with him." My voice finally cracked. "Was anything real?" "Of course it was real." She stepped toward me, desperate. "I love you, Ethan. It was a mistake, a stupid, terrible mistake." I laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. "Which part was the mistake, the affair or getting caught?" That night I slept in the guest room, or rather I lay awake listening to Olivia crying in our bedroom. By morning I had made my decision. "I've spoken to a lawyer," I told her over untouched cups of coffee. "I'm filing for divorce." Her face crumpled. "Please, Ethan, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll cut off all contact with Jason. It was just..." "If you say it was just physical, I swear to God, Olivia." "No," she whispered. "It wasn't just physical. That's the problem, isn't it?" At least she was finally being honest. "I'm staying with Mark until you can find a new place," I said. "I'm keeping the house. It's non-negotiable since I paid the down payment with my inheritance. You have 30 days. She stared at me, shock replacing tears. "You're serious. You've thought this all through. Did you think I'd beg you to stay? That I'd compete with him for your attention? I thought you'd at least fight for our marriage." And there it was. The audacity. The entitlement. As if her betrayal was somehow my failure. "I did fight for our marriage," I said quietly. "Every day for 7 years. You're the one who threw it away for a nostalgia trip with your ex." I left her sitting there, keys to my Toyota jingling in my hand, walking away from the life we'd built together. It felt like removing a bandage. Excruciating in the moment, but necessary for healing to begin. Olivia didn't go quietly. She called, texted, emailed, begging for another chance. She sent flowers to my classroom, showed up at Mark's apartment, even enlisted her parents to call me. "You're being hasty," her mother said. "Everyone makes mistakes." But I remained firm. The divorce proceedings continued. Then I discovered something interesting. Olivia hadn't told anyone at work about our separation. She was still wearing her wedding ring, still talking about my husband at company events. Why? Because she was up for a major promotion to marketing director, and the VP making the decision was notoriously traditional about family values. I knew what I had to do. The Nike corporate party was being held at the Portland Art Museum. As Olivia's husband, I was still on the guest list. She hadn't thought to remove me. I arrived looking sharp in the Tom Ford suit she'd bought me for our last anniversary, turning heads as I walked in alone. Olivia was across the room, champagne in hand, laughing with her boss. She froze when she saw me, eyes wide with panic. "Ethan," she hissed when I approached. "What are you doing here?" "Supporting my wife," I said loudly enough for her colleagues to hear. "Isn't that what husbands do?" Her boss, David, clapped me on the shoulder. "Good to see you again, Ethan. Olivia tells me you two are thinking about starting a family soon. That's wonderful." "Oh, we've been thinking about a lot of things lately," I replied with a smile. "Haven't we, honey?" Olivia's face was a mask of barely controlled terror. "Ethan, can I talk to you privately for a moment?" "No need," I said cheerfully. "David, did Olivia tell you about our recent trip to Cannon Beach? The Stephanie Inn is gorgeous this time of year." Confusion crossed David's face. "I thought you were in Seattle for our marketing retreat that weekend?" I pulled out my phone. "I have some lovely photos from the trip. Would you like to see?" "Ethan, don't," Olivia whispered. But honey, these are such beautiful memories, I said, bringing up the photos of her and Jason walking hand in hand on the beach. Maybe not something to share at a work function, you're right. Though I'm sure Jason wouldn't mind, he's always posting everything on Instagram anyway. David's brow furrowed. Jason? Who's Jason? Oh, just an old friend, I said casually. Olivia's college boyfriend, actually. They've been reconnecting lately. The color drained from Olivia's face. Ethan, please, we should talk about this at home. We don't have a home anymore, remember? You have 20 more days to find a new place. I turned to her increasingly uncomfortable boss. Sorry about this, David. I thought everyone knew we're getting divorced. Olivia's been having an affair with her ex-boyfriend for the past 3 months. I pulled out the divorce papers I'd conveniently brought along and handed them to Olivia. By the way, your lawyer called. These need your signature by Monday. The room had gone silent. Everyone was staring. Olivia looked like she might faint. It was lovely meeting you all, I said to the stunned onlookers. I wish I could say I'll see you at the next corporate event, but, well, circumstances. As I walked out, I heard David's stern voice. Olivia, my office, first thing Monday morning. Olivia didn't get the promotion. In fact, she was lucky to keep her job at all, though she was transferred to the Beaverton office, a notable demotion. Jason broke things off within weeks when he realized she was no longer the carefree, successful marketing exec he'd been attracted to. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. I kept the house and most of our assets as my lawyer made a convincing case about her deception and its impact on my mental health. My students at Lincoln High School rallied around me when word got out about what had happened. On the day the divorce was finalized, I returned to my classroom after lunch to find my desk covered with coffee gift cards, chocolate, and handwritten notes of support. Mr. Collins deserves better, one read. Thanks for showing us what self-respect looks like. 6 months after that night at the Nike party, I ran into Olivia at New Seasons Market. She looked smaller somehow, deflated. Ethan, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. How are you? Good, I replied, and meant it. Really good, actually. I heard you're dating someone new, she said. Teresa mentioned she met her at a party. I nodded. Rachel, she teaches art at Lincoln. I'm happy for you, she said, though her eyes said otherwise. You deserve someone who appreciates you. As I walked away, cart full of ingredients for the dinner I was cooking for Rachel that night, I felt no satisfaction in Olivia's obvious misery, no lingering desire for further revenge, just gratitude that I'd found the strength to walk away, to demand better for myself. Sometimes the best revenge isn't making someone else suffer, it's refusing to let them make you suffer anymore. It's reclaiming your life and moving forward without them, and meaning it when you say you're doing really good, actually. That night, as Rachel and I chopped vegetables side by side in my kitchen, the kitchen that was now truly mine, I realized something profound. I was no longer the man who had lain awake listening to that clicking ceiling fan, wondering if he was worthy of honesty and fidelity. I was someone stronger now, someone who knew his worth, and that transformation, more than any act of revenge, was the real victory. Hope you enjoyed this tale. What did you think about it? And would you have acted the same way? Or have you ever had major family issues over money, betrayal, or other events? Drop your stories in the comments. Let's talk about it. And more importantly, let's learn from it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more real-life stories you won't forget in a hurry.